This video will teach you how to fold the Evolayersen sci-fi transport ship. It's a really futuristic looking jet. Let's go over the features. It has 4 wings, 4 canard fins, 2 right here and 2 right there, 2 air intakes, a cockpit where you can just lift it up like this, and you can open it up right here. Let's see if I can do it. You can open it up right there and insert like a little pilot or something. But yeah, a lot of the plane is color change. Yeah, quite a lot of it is color change, and has 2 tail fins, 2 afterburners. Although they're really small. Don't know if you can see them. They're right there. But yeah, that's pretty much all I need to say. But before we get started, I just want to say this is a very complex model, and you're going to need years of experience to fold this. Trust me, this is tough. So otherwise, let's get into the flight demonstration. To fold this plane, I recommend you use at least a 9.75 inch of Evolayersen origami paper, which is what I have right here, and what I folded this one out of. So, yep, let's begin. First off, you're going to start off with making a double preliminary base. Just by folding the diagonals first. And again. And then, just in case, I like to fold the horizontals as well. That's just what I like to call it. The horizontals, because they're horizontal and vertical folds. So yeah. Although we are not making a water bomb base. So yeah, I'm just doing these folds just as a pre-crease or pre-creases. Yeah. Okay, now you're gonna fold this in half again. Fold this to that edge, like this. Unfold that and do it again on the right side. Turn the paper over, do the same thing here. Unfold that, same thing, just on the right side. Unfold it to this point. And then what you're gonna do is go fold from this point to this crease right there, just at that point that I marked down, although should have made that darker, to be honest. There we go. We have fold from this point to that edge right there. You got that. Turn over, and you're gonna fold these two edges to the center like this. Okay, you're gonna unfold that. You're gonna turn the paper over to this side where all the creases you made are on the bottom here, and then you're gonna do the same thing to the top side. But remember, this is the edge you're folding it to, so you don't get confused. Make sure it's perfectly lined up, symmetrical. Yep. And then you do the same thing here. Just gonna fold these two edges to the center again. Okay, then unfold that. And then using the creases you have there, you're gonna just collapse it in like this, using the creases. Try to adjust it so it's lined up. Okay, and then you're gonna squash this flap right here down. Like that. And then you're gonna turn over, and then you're gonna use, I don't know if you're really gonna see it, but, oh, never mind, you can't see it. But yeah, you're just gonna get that shit out of here. But you're gonna just fold this up and crease it down using those creases and the center crease right there. So basically like this. Pinch the center. Just removing the kinks. That's gonna bother us. And then once you do that, you're just gonna collapse it in like this. Although these kinks keep appearing, man. But I think you should get what I mean. Then you're gonna do the same thing here to squash the flap down. turn this over, and then you're just gonna use this bucket right here and do that. And then you're gonna go in here and squash it out. Squash fold like that. Then you're gonna turn over to this point and do the same thing with this flap right here. Open up the bucket and just pull it up, pull it on both sides, and then just squash it down like that. The flap. There you go. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna like open it up and then flatten it like this. The top of the thing, the paper. Crease that good because you're gonna want it to be flat. Well, no duh. And then you're gonna fold this edge to the center, and that goes with these two other flaps too and the top one. So yep. And if it's your first time using this base, then trust me, you're gonna want to need these creases, because if you do not do these creases, then it's gonna be a bad time for you. Can't unfold that. Fold it, collapse it back in. Fold it over like this, and then you're gonna see the flap again. You're just gonna do this. Then fold it back up again, and then you're gonna do the same thing with the other one that you did increase. Yep. And then back up. Now you're gonna want to unfold the whole thing. I know, please don't hate me. But yep, unfold the whole thing. Back to this point. Now, the crease pattern is very important here. I've gone through this many times in my tutorials, so yeah. But what you're gonna do with these creases is you're basically gonna turn this whole entire square in the middle into a mountain folds. So yeah, you just pinch the edges like this, or just pick it up, and then the diagonal creases from there and there too. And then the even littler or the smaller square inside is also, or no, they're just valley folds. Anyway, you're just gonna pinch it in like this. And then once you start getting it, you're gonna use those creases right there to fold it in like that. And then same thing on the other side, you're gonna have those two other creases. And once you do that, you should have something like this. Alright, just make a preliminary fold. Alright, so this is the preliminary base, but what we're going to do now is unfold this, and then there's going to be tiny triangles like this right here. You're going to pinch it like that, and then it makes a new flap. Same thing here. Take it out, pinch it. And then just refold it back in. So then basically what you just did is there was a hidden triangular flap inside of this square right here. Or not square, rectangle. And then you basically just took it out. Anyways, what you're going to do next is, I think it's good if I zoom in a bit. There we go. So what we're going to do next is fold all these creases, or just squash fold all the edges. So yeah, basically just this. Pick this up, put your finger inside to squash it down, and like that. And yep, you're gonna repeat that. You're gonna repeat that with all the other flaps on this. So yep. Just keep squashing them all down. Man, I really need to get into gaming content. I said I would get into it in early 2026, but I didn't do anything. Man, I need to get into gaming content soon, but I'll try. By like gaming content, I mean just making gaming videos in general. Because I mean, I used to do some, but they weren't really good. And they're still on the channel. It's just that, yeah, they're not really that good videos. Yep, and then you just repeat that on the other side. Just keep going. As you can see, or starting to see, this is a really useful base. Because it has so many layers and so much stuff you can do with it. And as you probably saw, this jet, or not this jet, bruh. Or no, this base can make many different planes. I don't know why I call the base a jet. Stupid. Anyways. Alright, squash down to the last flap. Then you should have something like this, where it's just endless layers right there, a bunch. Yep. And when I do this, don't do that, because you might accidentally unfold all your progress. Excuse me. Alright, and then to make the two canards, like the diamond ones right there, you're just gonna squash this down right here. And same here. So then you have 4 flaps right there. To create the air intakes, you're just gonna use 2 of those flaps and fold it in. Just trying to check if I'm off frame or not. Luckily, I don't think I am. I don't know. Or how can I say I don't know when I can literally see the camera? But yeah. Those are going to be your air intakes. And the air intakes are kind of judgment folds. You can make them as big or small as you want, just as long as they're not too small. Because they need to be openable, like the ones of the plane. Like, even though that's a bit too small, but it's openable, but it's still okay. But yeah. And now we're going to get into the part that makes this plane color change. Like, a lot of it. So, like, how this part right here is, like, pretty much almost all color change. what I did here is literally just kind of like the F-22 of Jason Merrill, I think. Well, I just say what I think, but he did this right here. I'm pretty sure. It's just that I haven't folded that in forever. But yeah, you just do that, and then like you just go here, and then you're gonna see this grease, and then open up the other side. It's kind of tricky. Come on, bro. It's a really tricky step, bear with me. A lot of kinks appear. Make sure to... A lot of kinks appear in the steps, so always make sure to remove them. Got E. You have that. And then, yep, you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Which is why this pretty much this whole thing is color change. So you just fold this up. And then just open it up again, like this. And then use the following creases to collapse it into a new thing. Although it's kind of tricky to do, it can be a bit frustrating. And it's really difficult to work with, so that's why a lot of kinks form. And if they form, then yeah, just remove them. But eventually you can get it. But yeah, you just gotta focus on laying everything up and stuff, so that nothing looks off. There we go. Finally got it on both sides. And now as for the 4 wings, you basically are just gonna squash this layer up. Like just, you see this pocket right here? Just gonna use that and swivel this up a bit like that. And then that makes kind of the base of a wing, or just the blueprint. Then you're just gonna do the same thing here. Then just in case, fold this in half, make sure the wings are equal. Yep, very cool. And then you're gonna turn over to the other side and do the same thing and just match up the wings. I'm so sorry if I get off frame a bit, it's my fault. But yeah. Now you can probably see, now you can see why a lot of the plane is color change. Because it's just, What am I even saying, bro? What am I even saying, bro? But yeah, it's because of those two folds and those two steps of collapsing the paper like this. So yeah. Kind of. I sound so stupid right now. I kind of forgot what to do here. Oh yeah. So you just try to make what I like to call a blind petal fold, where you just pick this up like this. Remove the kinks. And then this is for the cockpit. And yeah, the reason why you can do that with the cockpit and stuff is because of the flap add-on right there. But yeah, sometimes I like to just have my plane with me in the camera sometimes because I might forget what to do, which sounds really stupid of me. But come on, you can't really blame me, because sometimes I forget how to fold my planes. Or you know what, never mind, you can kind of blame me. Anyways, yeah, you just squash fold that down, and then you're gonna kind of spread squash the back a bit while doing that. And if things don't really line up the first time you do it, then just adjust it. And plus, it's just a cockpit. It's not like gonna affect how it flies or anything. All right. Then you're just gonna actually, what do I do here again? So like, if you're going for a big cockpit, you could just immediately squash fold it like that, but yeah, that looks ugly. So if you want like the cockpit like the size of the one here, then you're gonna have to do it again. After you do that, then you can squash fold again and then pedal fold. So then you have a good sized cockpit. Although it's a bit small, so I recommend you grab something like a pencil or tweezers to help you out. Just tired, man. But yep, it's cockpit. You're gonna help yourself by using a pencil or tweezers to pedal fold that. And I'm assuming that you're a master at origami if you're following this tutorial, so I'm not really gonna explain as much stuff, but yeah, I just explained a bunch of stuff. But yeah, you should be able to understand what I'm trying to tell you in these tutorials. Because if you don't, then yeah, the difficulty's not for you. Hate to say it. And then you're just gonna fold this here, so then you get that color change edge at the wing. And then same thing here. Oh, I'm always checking if I go off frame. I always think I go off frame, bruh. Anyways. Okay, and then, yep, That's what makes the color change thing right here. But, or wait, let me just make sure. Yeah. Sorry about that, just forgot some stuff anyways. Yeah, I know I sound pretty dumb right now, but anyway. Just gonna fold this flap right here to there, or just fold it. So then, as you can see here, that is what's gonna create an afterburner. And then how you create the tail fins is by doing this first and adjust it so you're satisfied, like that. And then you go in here, and then you're just gonna fold that flap inside. So then those two little edges right there come to a point. I don't know if you can see it because of the big flap in the way. So those two edges go into a point. And then if the afterburner is too big for the tail fins, then just adjust it like that, like it just did. But yeah, it's just something like that. Then what you're gonna do next is fold it in half. Repeat the same thing on the other side. Just try to match it. Sorry, I accidentally stopped recording anyway. So yeah, then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna fold this here to match with the other side you just did. Might be a little tough because you're trying to drag up the layer and then like fold it back in half again. And you're also at the same time trying to make sure if it's matching or not. But yeah, I think I got it. Or I'm pretty sure, yeah. So yep, you got that. And then you're gonna do the same thing where you make the tail fins, where fold this down. And then again, it comes to just trying to make sure if it's equal by folding it in half. Then just do the same thing you did on the other side. Just fold the flap back in until those two small edges come to a point right there. That doesn't look right. Hold on. Something's not right here. Or maybe I'm just tweaking. Yeah, I was just tweaking anyways. Oh yeah, I forgot to do that. Just make the color change edge on the wing here, too. And the same thing here. And yeah, make the canards. The second pair of canards. Although, wait. Alright, so for me trying to figure out what to do next, I had to kind of destroy this foot a bit, so yeah. Or actually, I'll just fold it back in right now. Sorry about that. Anyways. Yeah, it's not gonna that's not gonna stick, but whatever. I'll still use it to help. Anyways. So you see you have those edges under the wings. You're just gonna try to, it's kind of difficult. But yeah, just like that. Like you just basically took the edge in here and then just put it right there. Then you're gonna do the same thing here. Although, you kind of got to figure out where the edge you're folding down is. But I think I found it. Yep. Uh-oh, the paper teared a bit. Uh-oh. Anyway, but yeah, try not to make the paper tear because it's not good. And then as of right there, you don't really have to do anything, to be honest. It's just optional. And then here, you don't really need to do anything either. You just gotta fold that down. Make a rabbit ear. Small flap, so you're gonna have to fold it down a bit. Or just squash it down. Then just fold this inside, since you don't really need it for anything. Although it's kind of difficult and hard to work with. But yeah, like that. And then you're just gonna want to fold that edge down to make the color change canard. And then what you're gonna do is go in here, and then you're just gonna like open up that pocket and then just first fold that inside. Or just like do that, but you're also gonna have to try to make sure that this canard stays color change. Something like that. And same thing on your side. And then as for here, these wedges, you don't really need them for anything either. As you can see they're just really stuffed into the model. So you're kind of just going to do the same thing. Just go up here. And then just fold them in. You can do it any way you want, doesn't really matter. Just as long as they're in, because you don't really need it, to be honest. Just anything except cutting the paper. Because if you cut the paper, it's not origami anymore. And then just do the same thing here. Like I said, it doesn't really matter how you do it in this step. You need to do it however you want. Because for the Evolayersen jet, some of its steps also is just customization the way you want it to be. But yeah, you also still gotta make sure you're getting the steps accurate. As you can see, the plane's really starting to take shape. Although, even though this one is destroyed. Man, can I just get this thing back together? Usually when I do this, what I have to do is just put it in the locking mechanism and then just hold it for like a couple of minutes or something. This is how I try to fix planes I have to unfold. Or sometimes it takes just seconds. Like maybe it just took seconds this time. Nope. It did not take seconds. Just trying to figure out what to do next here. I mean, now I'm pretty sure we're done with the main base of the jet, to be honest. Because I don't really see anything else to do here. Other than just the jet fold it, to be honest. So yeah, let's get the jet folding. Although jet folding this model is quite a challenge. So what you're gonna do is like take this tiny layer right there, or just that tiny area, and then just use that to your advantage. And then you can start to jet fold more and more and more. I don't know why I described it like that, but anyways. Yep. Although it can get really thick, so you're gonna have to try to work with it or try to adapt to it. Which is why jet folding this model can be quite a challenge for some people. And yeah, the plane's really starting to take shape. And we are almost done. That felt much shorter that was much shorter than I thought, or just felt short, I don't know. I'm not really sure how long the tutorial is, but it doesn't really matter. It's still a pretty difficult model. But hey, if it's an hour, then I'm happy. If it's 50 minutes, I'm happy. If it's 30, I'm happy. I don't know. But yeah. Yep. But then once you have the wings folded up, Then if you want, or not if you want, you're gonna have to, but you're gonna fold the winglets like this. The winglets are more just judgment folds, to be honest, but once you make a winglet, you're gonna want the rest to be equal. So yeah. Basically like that, and you're gonna want to make those winglets into an X shape, like that, and then we're gonna make the locking mechanism, which is basically just folding this up like this, right here, folding that up, and folding this other flap in. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter what locking mechanism you use with this model. It just matters if it works. It just matters if it locks the plane, to be honest. Because if the plane is locked, then yeah, you're good. So yeah, something like that. And then to make the afterburners, you're just gonna go into those edges right there with a pencil. And just do that. And then you can just shape the afterburners until you're satisfied. But sometimes it can get mismatched. Like, they can just get unequal. So yeah, the afterburners are kind of stressful on this plane. But yeah, you should get what I mean when you're trying to make the afterburners. And then as for the air intakes, just gonna go in here and open them up again. And then like, you have something like that as an air intake. And same thing here. Then you have your two air intakes and your little cockpit that can, you know, do that. Just doing that to reinforce the cockpit. Just to kind of lock it in. And you don't really have to do that, but it's just recommended highly. But other than that, that's a finished Evolayersen. You can see the two tail fins, two afterburners, the four wings with the winglets, the cockpit that can do this, the you know what, open it up and put a pilot inside, whatever. So basically, yeah, it's just a retractable cockpit. And then, yep, you have your four canard fins, two air intakes, and the small afterburners at the back. But thank you for folding the plane. I hope it flies well. And otherwise, oops, enjoy.